Hello, guys, Mac here, and today I'm going to talk about one thing that I would love to see Rockstar implement into the next GTA Online game. So basically GTA 6 with the online aspect of that game. That is a better role-playing experience and better RPG mechanics. Now, I know that this is a GTA 6 concept, and I know there will be somebody out there who's like, hey, this is GTA 6, why are you talking about this? It hasn't been confirmed. And I'm not saying it has been confirmed, and I'm not saying that, what I'm going to be talking about in here is any legitimate information. It's just my opinion and my idea, but I want to put it out there because I feel it's never really too early to talk about GTA 6 and put ideas out there for what Rockstar could implement into the next GTA game. And this is mainly an online focused thing. It could work in single player, but mainly it's for online. And so getting right into this, GTA Online and GTA 5 kinda did this a little bit. They kinda did it, but not too well. It just kind of felt lackluster. I mean, there were a few stats, that you could upgrade or get better at with shooting, strength, stealth. You got driving, flying, lung capacity, a lot of different stuff. But really, there were two problems that I have with this system. One is that I didn't really feel like there was much change going on. Like, the only one I can really think of that had, like, an actual change, in my opinion, was the shooting stat. And that only really increased your recoil control, which really, ever since I've played on my second character and recreated that character, I did not feel a single change with my recoil. In first person, there was a little bit more recoil, but other than that, like, your actual spread, not a big deal. And it also increases your ammo capacity, which is the big change. But even then, I haven't really felt like there was a huge change. It wasn't like whenever I created my second character, it was like a huge change with my driving, because my driving stat was low. It wasn't like a huge change with my flying. Maybe there were some stats like strength is a little bit lower, but I don't do melee combat. Sure, maybe my lung capacity was lower, but really, like, is that a big deal? Not really, because people don't really go into the water much in GTA. So there weren't that many changes that was actually like, I'm noticing a progression on this character. So that was one problem with it. And then the second problem with this system is that there isn't a compromise. There isn't a choice that you have to make whenever you're creating another character. Whenever you're upgrading your character, it's not like you're making a choice where it's like, oh, do I want a good shooting character or do I want a good driving character? You basically get it all. Most characters in GTA Online, their main stats, driving, flying, shooting, some, characters specialize in strength and stealth, but not too many actually care about those because they aren't that great of systems in the game anyways. But for the most part, most players, by the point that they get like halfway through the game, so probably about level 40 or 50, they are already max in drive, and they're already max in shooting, they're already max in pretty much most of the stats that actually matter. And, stamina, stuff like that. And they've gotten to that point, and they're kind of just good in a lot of things. And there's not like a compromise that they have to make whenever they're like, hey, do I want to be good in shooting, or do I want to be better in driving? You're basically good in everything. And I would like to see in GTA 6 have this compromise, have this choice where you have to decide, do I want to be good in this one particular stat? Or you could also, still have like a jack of all trades, sort of like an average in every stat, but not great in every stat. And you wouldn't be great in a particular stat, you would just be a little bit good in some stuff. So the way that they could do this is have it be sort of similar to GTA 5 right now, but have it like if you spend more time shooting and you get better at shooting, then it takes away from other stats. So they could do that instead of it being like it maxes out at 100% and then it just never changes after that point. They could do something like that. Or they could do something where, like, whenever you rank up, you get like a few extra points that you can put in and you can allocate to a certain stat. But then it's like, well, would there be like a level cap on this? Or would it get to a point where like eventually you'd be able to specialize in everything? Which at that point it's like, well, what's the point of even having this system whenever you can just specialize in everything at the end? Sure, it may take longer, but I feel like they have to find a system where it either has this choice where you have to decide, depending on how much time you do, it takes away from other stats as well. So those are what I would like to see with the actual like skills and the actual stats with shooting, driving, stuff like that. But what I'd also like to see in the next GTA game, is actual skills, actual progression with skills, sort of like a skill tree, but not too much like a skill tree. Just whenever you rank up your character, you could choose maybe a skill every couple ranks of that progression system. So let's say, just for example, if you want a high driving stat, and you're ranking up that driving stat, let's say that there was a skill that makes it so that you don't fly through the windshield whenever you crash. Of course, that would mean that in GTA 6, in this hypothetical scenario I'm creating, is that in GTA 6, just like in GTA 5 single player, you would basically have where if you crash into like a wall, or whenever you crash into like another vehicle or something like that, your character flies through the windshield. That is not something that exists in GTA Online, but if it did exist in GTA 6 Online, then I feel like what they could do is have maybe a skill that makes it, maybe not you'll never fly through the windshield, but maybe something like it's like a 50% less chance or something like that. And then another one would be, let's say, for the shooting stat. So if you get your shooting stat up, eventually you can have a skill that lets you quick throw a grenade. Just like in GTA 5 now, but that option wouldn't be there for everyone unless they put in the time to go with their shooting stat. And whenever they invest in the shooting stat, then they could start taking these skills. Another one would be maybe a skill that increases your ammo capacity a little bit. Or another one for shooting would make one-shot weapons have like a better reload time or something. I don't want these to be too overpowered. I don't want it to be like, hey, this person has a high shooting stat, therefore he can have like double damage or something like that. I don't want that. I want it to be sort of grounded, but just these small abilities that your character could do. They have to find a good balance with that. And like I said, I don't want this to be like a super overpowered thing. Like, I don't want like somebody who has a high shooting stat to just completely dominate and basically get like an I win button that he can just press and boom, he wins a deathmatch. And and it takes no skill whatsoever. I would like it to still stay a little bit grounded. I would like for it to be like, hey, if you don't have a high shooting stat, it's gonna be a little bit harder to compete with guns and stuff, but you can still do it, And let's say you also have like a high driving stat. I don't want it to be like you are gonna completely dominate a race. Even if you have a terrible actual skill, like your actual player skill isn't even that great, just because your character skill is high, then I feel like that's not a great system. So I don't want it to be overpowered. And another thing that I'm sure some people are thinking about is, well, let's say your character is specialized in shooting or something, and let's say there was in this hypothetical GTA 6 online, there's like, let's say there was free mode events, right? And there was one where it's like based on driving, so like a reverse challenge, or let's say it was based on flying, so like inverted flying challenges, or just something like that. So you're probably like, I don't want to leave that session to switch characters, but I also don't want to use this character because he won't be able to compete in those kind of scenarios, at least as well as a specialized character would be able to, that specializes in driving or in flying or something like that. So what I would like to see is if GTA 6 is like GTA 5, and like I said, this is very hypothetical. This is going off of what we know in GTA 5. We don't know what systems will be in GTA 6. But, let's say, just like in GTA 5, there was a multiple protagonist. So in single player, you have multiple protagonists. In GTA 5, single player, you had multiple protagonists. You had 3 protagonists. And you could basically switch from them anytime in free roam. I think the only times you wouldn't be able to do it is whenever you had, like, cops and stuff. But I would like to see that also integrated into GTA Online. And it was a huge disappointment, in my opinion, that it wasn't. One of the biggest innovations in GTA 5 single player was the fact that you could have multiple characters, and then they just kind of scrapped it for online, and you can have multiple characters, but you can't switch from them without leaving the session, and it takes a lot of time. You can only have 2 characters, which I would also like to see increase to like maybe 4 or maybe unlimited. I'm not sure. But, something like that. And let's say you pull up your D-pad while you're And let's say, like I said, there's a free mode event going on, and let's say you're playing on a character who's an amazing driver, he's amazing in it, he's got some amazing cars on that account, and he's just one of the best, drive-in stats you could have. But let's say in GTA Free Roam, there's a free roam event, or a free roam challenge going on, and it's King of the Castle. Well, let's say you want to switch to another character that's better in shooting, well, you could do that. And it would just be just like in single player, it just puts you up in the clouds for a few seconds, you spawn in as that character, maybe on a different side of the map, maybe depending on if your character is like a good shooting character, maybe he's more often to be at like ammunition, or maybe if it's a good flying character, he's more often to be at like the airports and stuff. Stuff like that would be kind of cool, depending on how that character is built. That could also, depend on where they'll spawn. And I feel like that would be a nice addition to GTA 6 Online, and I feel like it would get a lot more people to care about their characters. And I feel like right now, in GTA Online, not many people care about their characters, at least their stats for their characters, because it really doesn't matter. Your actual skills don't really mean much in the end game. Early game, sure, maybe getting up your driving stat, maybe getting up your shooting stat against low levels as well may help, but in the late game, whenever everybody's got pretty much max stats, it doesn't really matter, because everybody's on an even playing field. Sure, maybe it'd be a little bit unbalanced at times, but I feel like it would still be a more fun system for GTA 6. But anyways, leave me your thoughts on this in the comments. Would you like to see better RPG mechanics in GTA 6 Online? Or do you think that it should just be everybody's on an even playing field, there is no skills, there are no skill trees and stuff like that? Leave me your thoughts in the comments. Hope you enjoy. If you, because I was Christian, I'll see you guys in the next video.